Hi guys, I'm Jen Johns and this is Cupcakes and Cardio. Today on the show I'm going to be showing you how to take a much loved brand, Hostess Cupcakes, and make a homemade copycat version of it. It's a delicious like devil's food cake chocolate and it's filled with marshmallow buttercream. It's super delicious. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can stay up to date on all of our newest videos as they come out and you're the first to know. So let's get started on this copycat Hostess Cupcakes tutorial. To make the rich chocolate cupcakes, we're going to be using 1 cup of granulated sugar. We need 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. We need 3/4 of a cup of softened butter. We need 2.5 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. I've got 2 eggs. Now we also need 1/2 cup of water, which we're going to heat up to boiling right before we put it into the recipe. We also need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We have 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and we have 1/2 cup of sour cream, which if you choose to, you can also substitute it for like a yogurt, or you could even use mayonnaise instead. And we need 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. So our first step is to combine the cocoa with hot water. So I boiled it in the microwave. It's quite hot, so make sure you're careful with that. And then you can either use like a whisk or a spatula to get this together. You just want to keep mixing it all up until it's a nice smooth consistency. Once the cocoa powder is nicely combined, we're going to add in our sour cream. Get in there. Oh, it's nice and thick. You can use a spatula to take the rest of that out. You can also just use a spatula to mix this up if you want to. I do find that sometimes when you're using a whisk, it kind of gets stuck in there, but it incorporates it better, which is why we use a whisk in this situation. So I'm just going to whisk this up, and then we're going to set this mixture aside. So our final stuff to prep before we get out the mixer is our dry ingredients. So here in my bowl I have my flour. I'm going to add my salt to it and my baking soda. Right here we've got our baking soda, and I've got my baking powder there. And then again with a whisk, I'm just going to take it, mix it all together, and set it aside. We're going to be using the chocolate and this flour mixture and combine everything else in the stand mixer coming up next. So we've got our stand mixer out and it's fitted with the paddle attachment. My butter is inside. I'm just going to whip it up briefly. The softer your butter is, the quicker it will whip up. So I'm going to add my sugar in next into the bowl there and whip that up. And I'm going to put it onto medium speed. And while it's whipping, I'm going to add the eggs and I'm also going to add the vanilla. So the butter and the sugar and the eggs and the vanilla have creamed nicely together. So I'm going to take about 1/2 of my flour mixture. And what I want to do is just divide up these 2 different sections, like the flour and the chocolate, into 2 halves. And then mix it kind of slowly because that's going to help the process of combining them. Just going to mix that briefly. And then I'm going to add in about 1/2 of the chocolate. So get that in there. And you do not have to be exact by any means here. So mix that in. Let's get that started. And then I'll add the rest of my flour now. Pour that all in there. And mix that again. And then I'll finish off and add the rest of my chocolate. With the batter all ready to go, you want to make sure that your oven is preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This recipe is going to make between 18 to 22 cupcakes, depending on how much you're putting into each of the wells. As you can see, I'm filling them about 2/3 to even almost 3/4 of the actual tin. So I'm going to pop these into the oven and then make my whole batch, and I'll be back to show you when they're cooled what we're going to do next. So my cupcakes are nice and cool. You want to let them cool completely because if you don't, the buttercream will just melt off of a cupcake. So I've got those ready. Now I also have some chocolate ganache ready to go, and I also have some marshmallow buttercream. Now the recipes for the ganache and the marshmallow buttercream are in the description box, and they're also in the cards. So what we're going to need with the buttercream are 2 different tips. Now I've got a small round one and it's a number 5, but you could really use any from like 2 to 8 pretty much. And I also have a number 12, and you could get away with totally not even using a number 12. You could just spoon the filling in, but I'm going to be using the number 12 to fill the cupcakes. And then I have a cupcake core here as well. You don't need that either. It's just a fun tool to have if you do a lot of filling cupcakes in the center. You can use a knife if you don't have one. So we've got everything laid out here. Now I'm going to show you how to use the cupcake core. And if you've watched the videos that I've done before where I use it, I do admit that I have a love-hate relationship with this thing. And I love it today because it's actually working. Thank you very much, Cupcake Core, for being on your best behavior. So it's as simple as that, or you can just take a knife and like core it out with an actual knife. So once you've got that nice big round hole there, you're gonna take your marshmallow buttercream and you're just going to fill the hole up like that. And then you're going back to your lid here and you're gonna just trim off this little section. You want to get like as much as you can. You just want to have enough that will top on there just like that. Now I'm going to go up to the ganache now. So I'm just going to pick this up and have a little hope and a prayer that it won't tumble into the ganache. I'm going to turn it upside down, hold on there, dip it in the ganache and pull it out like that. Give it a little tap to settle and she's ready. So we'll do another one and I'll be back to show you how to finish off the decorations. So our last step is to take our number 5 tip and put it on the end of our cupcake or our piping bag here. And I'm just going to do the little like signature loop-de-loops here. They're so fun to make. They're super easy to make. And just fit as many as you can on the top of your cupcake. I've been finding that like 6 or 5 is going to fit really well, just like that. So then before I go on to the next one, I just clean off my tip with a little piece of paper towel and then just start the loops all over again. So I'm going to, of course, cut into some so you guys can see the marshmallow filling inside, and then I'll be back to show you the completed cupcakes. So there you go, everybody. It's super easy to make these delicious Hostess cupcakes. I hope you enjoyed learning how today. You can see here from this one I've cut into, it's got tons of that ooey gooey marshmallow filling inside. It's so delicious. Thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in more cupcake recipes, make sure you check out our cupcake playlist. And the link is in the description box below. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I will see you guys all again next time.